They thought cursing you would end you. They thought a little poison whispered in your name would make you fade quietly. But all they did was teach you alchemy, how to turn venom into prophecy. You see, they never understood what happens when darkness prays for your downfall. They summon something they can't contain, you. You've learned to smile while bleeding, to laugh inside lightning, to wear ruin like perfume. Every curse they cast became a crown. Every dagger thrown became part of your armor. You didn't just survive, you metamorphosed. You're the kind of creature that terrifies people who think control is safety, because you don't obey gravity anymore. You've seen too much. You've died too many symbolic deaths to fear another. You've become the equation that breaks itself. Saint and psychopath, angel and executioner. They can't tell which version of you they're facing until it's too late. You're unpredictable, not because you're chaotic, but because you're free. And freedom, real freedom, is the scariest curse breaker of all. You learn that forgiveness isn't softness, it's strategy. That peace isn't calm, it's control. That love isn't sweet, it's surgical. You became fluent in duality. When they see kindness, they think they can strike. When they see stillness, they think you're asleep. They don't realize still water hides the sharpest reflections. You've stopped trying to prove anything. You've stopped explaining why you glow in the dark. You simply stand there, calm, steady, while their curses ricochet off the invisible shield built from every time you refused to die. That's why they fear your name now. It isn't superstition, it's memory. Every syllable reminds them of the night they tried to bury you and ended up planting something they can't uproot. They whisper that you're dangerous. They call you cursed. But in the quiet between their gossip and their guilt, they pray you never look directly at them again. Because your gaze burns. Because somewhere deep down, they know you're not coming for revenge. You're coming for balance. And balance never misses. You walk with both heaven and hell watching your back, unsure which side you belong to. You don't belong to either. You're the storm they both send when order breaks. Your silence hums with electricity, a warning they finally learned to hear. Every curse they sent came home, humming your name like a hymn. Every rumor carried a little bit of their own fear back to them. You didn't lift a finger, you just kept becoming. And that's what terrifies them most. You don't fight the dark anymore. You consume it, you make it art. You make it useful, you make it irrelevant. So now, when they hear your name, they flinch. Not out of hatred, but recognition. They see what they could have been if they'd chosen transformation over envy. If they'd learned to dance with chaos instead of drowning in it. They'll call you lucky. They'll call you manipulative. They'll call you mad. Let them. Every accusation is confession in disguise. You've become their mirror, and mirrors never lie. They just return what they're shown. And that, right there, is the final twist. The curses never backfired by magic. They backfired because you stopped being a target. You became the reflection. You became the lesson. Now your name moves through rooms like weather. They hear it and feel the temperature drop. They remember how it felt when everything they threw at you came back with interest. They used to chant against you. Now they whisper prayers that you stay far away. Because deep down they know you were never the cursed one. You were the consequence. They remember what they did. They remember every whisper, every smirk, every time they said you wouldn't rise again. And now they can't sleep. Because they see you in everything. You became the echo in their victories, the shadow in their sunlight. You are the consequence that keeps breathing. They tried to hex you with words, with envy, with silence. But you learned that silence cuts both ways. You turned it into an ally. You learned to let them talk, let them gather in their little circles and spin their stories. And then you showed up, untouched. That's when the fear began. Because curses are supposed to break people, not forge them. You were supposed to disappear. Instead, you became a rumor that walks. Every time your name is mentioned, the room shifts temperature. They glance at doors, at corners, at shadows, as if the universe might have decided to answer back. And maybe it has. You don't need to shout. You never did. Your calmness became your cruelty. Your patience became your punishment. They wanted you to scream, to rage, to prove you were wounded, but you refused to perform. You just evolved, quietly, perfectly. Now every success of yours sounds like thunder to them. Every breath you take feels like proof that someone, somewhere, is keeping score. And maybe that's what scares them the most. That heaven, or fate, or the cold arithmetic of justice itself decided to balance the scales using you. You don't have to believe in karma for it to recognize your face. You just have to keep walking while the world rearranges itself around your endurance. You stopped chasing closure. You became closure. You stopped wanting revenge. You became reminder. That's the thing about people who send curses. They forget that energy is a circle. They forget that whatever leaves them has to return to something. And you, standing there in the middle of the circle, learned how to redirect the flow. Not with hate, with mastery. You learned to hold still while chaos spun itself dizzy. You are the quiet after the storm, the part that no one trusts. Too calm, too composed, because they can feel the charge in the air. They can sense the power that doesn't need to announce itself. And maybe that's the lesson. You didn't win by fighting harder. You won by outlasting the noise. By becoming so grounded that even the universe takes a moment to breathe before it approaches you. They thought they were playing a simple game of harm and consequence. They didn't realize they were teaching you control. Now every time they plot, the air itself betrays them. Every time they whisper, the silence answers back with your name. You've become myth, and myth is immune to curses. Myth feeds on belief. They created you, and now they can't unmake you. Because what's born from darkness doesn't die in the light. It adapts. So let them remember. Let your existence be the cautionary tale that lives in their throats. Let them call you whatever helps them sleep at night. But deep down, they know. The only reason they're still afraid is because somewhere, some part of them still believes in what you are capable of. And that belief is the curse that never ends.